Hello, welcome everyone to another Thriving Thursday with Ascending Tribe. We have an incredible speaker with us today. Britt Edwards is a teacher and is going to be taking us through Keylontic Science, unified field theory, frequency, a range of stuff. But first of all, Britt, do you want to give us a bit of an introduction into your background, how you found with this information, how you came to be teaching this information?
100%. So I'm just an ordinary person, just like the rest of everybody. Didn't grow up with a silver spoon, no extra ordinary multidimensional experience, just a normal life until I consumed mushrooms and I had multidimensional experiences, then wide range of things that I couldn't answer, you know, like things that I saw and experienced and felt. And I was actually given all the files of Keylontics, all Ashiana Dean's workshop videos, all the audios as a gift. So I studied it. I had nothing else to do. I was living at the tent in the time, working as a welder. And so I would just come home and just study, do the frequency techniques, the heart shield, the toning, the activations, and actually applied it to my life. And then I found that this is what I was here to do. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody has the time to have family, kids, other responsibilities. That does not allow them for hours and hours and hours just to be a nerd and devote yourself to an advanced science. But I did. So I found that I was given that opportunity so that I can study it, so that I can pass it along to other people in a timely manner, in a fashion that doesn't require you going through hundreds and hundreds of pages and just, I can't tell you how many hours I spent reading, but that's only because it's scattered. So the thing about it is this information isn't accessed via the internet or the masses because it's copyrighted. And there's an agenda to suppress this form of information. So I am simply just here as a messenger to pass along the flame. That's it, nothing more, nothing less.
Perfect, thank you. Will you be presenting?
Yep.
PowerPoint presentation?
Oh, so I prepared a short presentation, I think of 14 slides, just go over the very, very, very core basics of what Keylontic Science, morphogenetic field physics, and eternal life, base 12, geometry, and just pretty much the essence of this body of work. Because it's big, it has a lot of facets. It has the cosmic history, DNA template activations, the shielding, the healing, the Templar mechanics, celestial, there's a lot of things, but what I focus on is only things that you can apply to your life. If you can't apply it to everyday practice or everyday life and, you know, get results or see it, then it's useless to me. Like knowledge without application is a bird without wings. So the only thing I'm going to give you is wings. Okay, I'm not going to waste your time. Get right to it. If you have any questions at any time, please don't hesitate to ask, and I'll do my best to answer. Okay.
Feel free to present.
Awesome. So I'm gonna share my screen. So can everybody see this?
Yes, we can, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So, crystal spiral breath work. The reason why I focus on the breath, because the breath is all there is, really. From the micro to the macro, everything is expanding and contraction. So what I did is I took the foundations of Keylontics and focused and combined it with breath work, because most people do the breath work, but they don't have the mechanics behind it or the knowledge behind what they're even breathing. Okay, so the breath and science and math and geometry are all one. And that's how you work with it, with everything, the multidimensional aspect of this holographic reality. You work with it through your breathing. Okay, so tapping into source all around us via the breath. Okay, so you're the lock and the key. All you have to do is breathe and fill the voids and spaces with living light. So the foundations of Keylonta is eternal frequency, what that even means. What's not eternal frequency, what's bipolar frequency, what's tripolar frequency. Okay, that's all it is. It's not good and bad. It's not evil and good. It's polarized. It's just low frequency, high frequency. Okay, so this is just simply the 15 rays. Okay, there are 15 rays and 12 domains. Each dimension has a specific electrotonal ray signature, and then it has the energy unit that carries that ray, and then it has a color that's associated with that dimensional ray. So dimension 1 is chi, dimension 2 is ki, dimension 3 is ray. Okay, so proton, electron, neutron. Okay, there's 15 dimensions in a crystal spiral eternal life time matrix. Okay, you see here at the bottom where it goes 15, 14, 13. This is Ki, Ra, She. D13 being Ki, D14 being Ra, D15 being She. These are what is known as the primal light currents, okay, or the Ki, Ra, She light currents. Okay? Then that polarizes down into what are known as the Maharata, which is 12, 11, 10. Okay. Then further down, 9 and below is Kundalini current. So when anybody talks about Kundalini activations, that's only dimensions 1 through 9. There are more, each dimension corresponds to a specific color wavelength, okay? All there is protons, electrons, and neutrons, right? When you go up the density, because the density is 3 dimensions, okay? Density 1, density 2, density 3. When you go up in the dimensions, it's still protons, electrons, and neutrons, but they're at a higher density, so they're called different. So D4 prana is not the same thing as chi, is not the same thing as all these different terms that they have for energy. Each tone, electrotonal signature, is corresponding to a very specific dimensional band of frequency. Okay, so as you go up, prana is D4 energy, mana is D5, treya D6, and you go on and so forth. And then, so the muon will be the protons of the second density. The dions will be the electrons of the second density. And the ions will be the neutrons of the second density. Same thing. They go up to erons, ectons, rayons. 10, 11, 12 is meson, trion, and rayons. And then 13, 14, 15 is Kirashe. So to wrap all the dimensional bands, it starts off as primal sound fields, which are the Kunda ray, okay? Sound fields, non-dimensionalized sound fields, like bubbles within bubbles, okay? Then it has the primal light field inside of that, Kirashe. Then inside of that, there's the Maharata. And then inside of that, the Antakarana. And as it goes inside, it gets more dense. And as it expands out to the outer bands, it's less dense. This is around your body. This is around the earth. Everything is just spheres within spheres within spheres. Okay. And each of these spheres are vibrating and oscillating at a specific ratio with a specific color, with carrying a specific dimensional frequency band. Okay. Well, I went over a lot, but this will help. Okay. So, you know, like, what are dimensions? Is that like some far thing off in the distant galaxy? No, it's all around us. Each chakra corresponds to a dimension, and your cathara points correspond to a dimension. Okay, so everybody in here is familiar with chakras. So I'm going to go over cathara points first. Your cathara points are the electrotonal condensed scalar wave radiation parts of your morphogenetic field that project that part of your hologram in your body. So the organs aren't just organs, they're a station for that dimension of consciousness stationed in that organ. Okay, so our first cathara point is in Earth's core. Okay, no matter if you believe it's flat or round, it doesn't matter, it's holographic, it could be both, you know. So the Earth's core, which is D13. Okay, the second one is called the Nam-Yun, which for male is the prostate gland. Okay, for females is the vagina. The third and fourth is the dal. So male is the uterus, female is ovaries. That's your third and fourth cathara points. Then the fifth is called the seat of Amenti. This is very important, okay, because the way the things are, well, let me back up. Keylontic perspective, okay, is that there's a false naval energy point, and this seat of Amenti corrects that energy point. Okay, and I'll get into that afterwards. Okay, so 6 and 7 is the wings. All right, the 8 is the spark of Orion, and that's actually in your thymus gland, not your thyroid. Okay, 9th and 10th is the shard behind the ears. 11th at the crown jewel at the pineal gland, and 12th is 6 inches above your head at your 10th chakra. Okay, so the only ones that overlay on the chakras is the 8th, the 11th, and the 12th. Okay, so the cathara points, you could think of these as the deepest part of your energetic anatomy of your DNA template, not your chemical DNA template, but your morphogenetic DNA template. All right, this is deepest part. Then there's layers. Okay, cathara points and the cathara lines. Then the next layer out of that is your chakras and all that. And then the outermost layer on the top of your skin is what is known as diotic points and meiotic points. Okay, those act like little Merkabas on the outer part of your skin, and you rub these to activate these to allow the frequency to come from your fields and through those cathara points, meiotic points, into the deepest part of your template. Okay, because there's levels, different levels. Okay, so really, really simple. So nothing gets too complicated. All you have to do or to know is what they taught us in elementary school. Literally, we just got to go back to pre-K and then relearn all of what they taught us, because they taught us as little magicians and wizards before, you know, anything else. All right, color, sound, geometry, and numbers. That's all you need to work with dimensions, because that's all there is. Look at this diagram. This is the cathara multidimensional template. Okay, so each sphere has a specific color, a number, a shape, all of that. That's all there is. Colors, shapes, numbers, and then the sound or the name associated with that. Okay, so these symbols that you see are called fire codes. Okay, fire codes are the control symbol for that dimension of consciousness. Okay, and you work with these specific shapes to anchor in or activate that dimension or level or frequency band of consciousness. Okay, which is why these symbols are important. Symbols, if nothing else is important, it's the symbols. To me, the symbols is how they use to control your perception or unlock your perception. That's all there is. Okay, which is personal. From my personal experience, what activated me most was working with the geometry, sound, numbers, all that. Some people might just specialize in mathematics. Some people might just sing or work with sound. Some people might just draw and work with color. But when you combine all these in one, that's literally magic. That's all magic is. Okay. So the basis of Keylontics is there's a cathara grid template, which is the scalar wave blueprint that matter manifests on and structures the holographic reality. That corresponds to the dimensional structure, which corresponds to the cathara points, which corresponds to the meridian lines and axial tonal lines, which is the energy highway, like tubes up and down your body. Corresponds to a chakras, corresponds to crystal seals. All right, crystal seals are in between chakras that control the flow of that dimensional energy from one chakra to the next. So in between each chakra, there's known as crystal star seals and crystal star seeds. Star seals are the vertical meridian lines, and then the star seeds are the diotic horizontal lines. And where they intersect is where these control lock seals are at. And so you consciously work with your energetic anatomy, the awareness of the dimensional structure, dimensional frequency bands, and the geometry and codes, and you transportate your mind or imagine, because anytime you imagine something, you're just taking your consciousness and station it somewhere else. So if you can take your consciousness and imagine a beam of light in your pineal and project it on the other side of your room, well, your portion of your consciousness is actually on that other part of the room. And that is what is known as multi-vector consciousness. If you only look through your eyes and perceive from your eyes, that is single vector consciousness. The basis of Keylontics to activate DNA template organically is working with the multidimensional, multi-vector consciousness via the mind scalar wave technologies. This is all in the mind, because the mind is all there is. The universe is mental. Okay, so the mind is where your ego is stationed, and that is how you move the energy around. You imagine the color that you're running, you tone it, you imagine the geometries, you imagine where you're putting it. It's all through the intentions of your mind, because your pineal gland, your brain, produces scalar wave, cymatic scalar field templates that get sent out on a horizontal and vertical and diagonal planes, and they go out into the morphogenetic field. And then it takes time for that thing to seed and settle and then go through the manifestation sequence, and then it'll reflect back into your hologram. Okay. But in order to get something done, you have to first imagine it and use your mind to produce the manifestation templates, scalar wave templates that you desire. Okay. Harmonized thoughts, structured thoughts, valuable thoughts are more potent, more harmonized, symmetrical scalar wave templates. Okay, if it's negative and angry and sad, these are disharmonic, and they're not going to manifest like we want them to. Okay, all right. So star points correspond. So the beautiful thing of Keylontics, okay, this is what really opened me up, is the correspondence from chakras. Say fourth heart chakra, right? That corresponds to the fourth dimension, okay, which is the fourth frequency band around you, which corresponds to the color green, which corresponds to the fourth stargate, which is Giza, which corresponds to the fourth axial tonal line, which runs up your pinky, which corresponds to the fourth DNA strand. You know, so it's one works with all the levels of reality on all levels. So each chakra corresponds to the level of the auric field, axial tonal line, Huba body, and each three set of chakras contain three-dimensional frequency bands that form in dimensional levels of the auric field. So chakras are just to pull energy in from your fields and transmit energy back into your fields. That's all they are. They're just energetic highways, okay? Each chakra carries a primary color, the hue associated with the wavelength of the dimensional frequency band to which the chakra corresponds. Right? So everybody's familiar with the seven chakras, okay? But you also have 8 morphogenetic chakras. Okay? You have your 8th chakra coming in from the back of your head, intersecting at the pineal gland, and then anchoring right above the heart chakra. This is your seed atom, the center of your morphogenetic cathara blueprint. It's the center of everything. Everything in your field is in relationship to your azure. Okay, that's the center where all the crystal spiral into and spiral out of. Okay, your 9th chakra comes in from the front of the forehead, intersects with the pineal, and comes out the back of the base of the skull. Okay, 10th chakra is 16 inches above your head. 11th chakra, no, my bad. 10th chakra is 6 inches above your head. 11th chakra is 18 inches above your head. 13th chakra is Earth's core, is in the center of Earth's core down here. Your 12th chakra is 12 inches below your feet, and your 14th chakra is 36 inches above your head. So I know that was a lot. It's fine. If you're not going to get it all in the first go around, it's a constant going back to the information, going over it, studying it, applying it. But really, this should be second nature, because this is us. You know what I'm saying? This is how we work with us. That's all there is the story of the self. All the esoteric knowledge, all the mystery knowledge, all the fables, all that was the story of our evolution, of our reality. Okay. So becoming aware of the full frequency spectrum, of the full chakra spectrum of the shields, which actually I left out a diagram to explain the shields, but I'll go over that. The science of the shields, where to pull the energy in from, where to transmit it to, what color it is, what dimension it's coming from. This is important to know, because this is living. If you're not doing this, then you're not in conscious control of everything that's going on around you, and you're subject to the laws of the energy matrix. But once you learn the laws of the energy matrix and what they're composed of, then that's how you take power, and that's how you co-create the original way, the way we're supposed to. We're not supposed to be slaves to a system, bound to a 9-to-5 job, working, slaving our time out for increments of dollars, you know, doing things we don't we should be able to just play and manifest anything that we want and help each other. That's all it really is, and heal. Okay? Any questions before I go further? Please ask. I know that was a lot.
I'm going to save mine for the end. I've written some questions down, but I'll save it.
Awesome. All right. So 15-dimensional time matrix. Each 3 dimensions is a harmonic universe or a density. Density is not the same thing as a dimension, okay? A density is every 3 dimensions because that's how the dimensions are separated in 3s. The primal sound fields are 3 bands, the primal light fields are 3 bands, the Maharata is 3 bands, and the Antakarana is 3 sets of 3 bands of energy fields, okay? So D12 and down is what are known as the matter fields, the gross matter fields, okay? And D13 and up is the light fields. We experience all 12 dimensions in 3D, okay? So lightning or plasma is 12-dimensional frequency. Crystals, beautiful crystals that we work with every day, that's 3rd density energy, okay? That's D7, D8, and D9, okay? Us, we're harmonic 1 and harmonic 2 universe beings, okay? We exist in the 3rd dimension and the 4th dimension, which is where we go to every night when we sleep. And the 4th dimension is just as real as the 3rd dimension. It's only that 2/3 of our consciousness goes to the 4D and a third is left behind. So not all of our consciousness is stationed there. So we're not going to observe it as fully as solid as this reality. Okay. So we're carbon and silica. So first 3 dimensions is purely carbon-based biology, the most dense, the most magnetic, most contracted energy, the least integrated of the dimensional spectrum. You shift up to density 2, harmonic universe 2, it becomes carbon silica, which is where we're at now. You go up into density 3, it's pure silica, pure crystalline biology, okay? Density 4 is pre-matter, crystalline liquid light, which is plasma, okay? Lightning, pure electricity, okay? And then the primal light fields is antimatter, which is the dark matter, the ether, pretty much, standing wave pattern, flame, or fire body, okay? And so in each of these harmonic universe, we have a station of our higher identity in that dimension of reality, okay? So we have our soul in density 2, oversoul in density 3, our avatar in density 4, and then our rishi is the primal light field, the universal light that's not affected by D12 and down, the matter fields, okay? So each rishi is composed of 12 avatars. Each avatar is composed of 12 oversouls. Each soul is composed of 12 soul. Yeah, each soul is composed of 12 incarnate identities. So we're down here in these physical bodies. We're have other incarnate identities in this time vector matrix, okay? So as we go up in the dimensional scale, we become more integrated. We integrate those other selves, those other aspects, the fragmentation of our personality, and we return to what is known as wholeness or unity, is by integrating those levels of souls. So in Keylontic, it is taught that age 11, 22, and 33 are soul integration periods of the cycle of a human, okay, angelic human. So at 11, you integrate your soul. At 22, integrate your oversoul. At 33, you integrate your avatar. But currently, the way that the mutations and distortions are in the planetary field, because we're the micro, the macro, whatever happens in the planetary field is reflected into our fields. As above, so below, as within, so without. So there's known as what a Metatronic BPR reset. So at the Earth is a tilt, our Merkabas are at a tilt, which is why it's, when somebody says, oh, I have to align myself, well, if everything was fine and dandy, what need is any alignment. So alignment is strictly getting your Merkaba back in its vertical connection instead of that 23.5 tilt. So whenever it's tilted like a cup, if you got holes in the cup and the cup is tilted, the goal is to fill the cup up with water. And at 11, since you got the cup full, you're able to expand to the next cup around it. But if that cup isn't completely full when that time comes, then you just pour out the water and restart again. So it's like a frequency reset that keeps doing that until our seed atom and our azure burns out of its quanta, because it keeps recycling, keep relooping, and never integrating to that next dimensional frequency band, which can anchor in those higher frequencies that will, how do I say, outlast the finite system. Okay, so the whole idea is to raise your frequency organically. Okay, not through AI, not through strictly drugs, not through strictly, like those are tools, but not strictly through that. Like some people only trip mushrooms and think that's going to get them point A to point B. It's only a tool. It's not a buy all get all. So you don't pray to no God, no external entity, no savior program. It is you with full power, with the tools that you need to do everything you need for yourself. You don't need no Reiki master. I mean, no offense to anybody that does Reiki, because what I teach is 12D Reiki. You can use this to help other people out with energies, but it's 12D. Okay, so from dimension 9 and down is all bipolar frequency. Okay, it has two charges, positive, negative. Dimension 10 and up, or actually 12 and up, is tripolar. Okay, it's triadic current. It has the part of K, part of Com, and part of Chi. The neutral, the positive, negative, and the neutral aspect. Okay, so if something is bipolarized, it has the ability to be reversed. Okay, that's just the way current works. If it has a false center, which is known as a pseudo vector. So since they pushed toroid here, I'll actually do this. Come on now. So basically, what I'm saying
Can I ask a question?
No, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Can we go back to the last slide? I really feel like I need to slow this down a little bit. And if anyone else has any questions and wants to jump in, please feel free, because I feel like this is a lot of information. You don't mind, do you?
No, I don't mind at all. 100%.
Okay, yeah. So what you're trying to say, I just want to make sure that I'm getting it right. So what you're trying to say is, obviously, we are right now carbon-based biology. We are in the 3D, our bodies. But when we go up the dimensions, we have higher beings. So we are fractals of that higher being, but we are them. Am I getting this right?
Yeah, it's just ourself at a higher frequency. Like, we are the crystals, okay? We are the lightning, but that lightning is at that frequency, and we're at this frequency station in 3D, observing from that 3D. But we're also carbon silica. You know what I'm saying? We have actual organic crystals in our body. We're like in between density 1 and density 2. You know what I'm saying? So when we go to sleep at night, we transition our consciousness into our heart, which is the 4th chakra. And so we experience our ego from the 4th dimension, okay? The astral planes, which is what that is.
Yeah,
we're a fractalized, dense version of the higher aspects of ourself. Yes. And
all of that is real, what we experience in the 4D.
Oh, most definitely. But see, I don't want to get into too much about the distortions and deceptions, because that takes, a fair amount of time to give background, to give context to behind that. But yes.
Okay, so I'm just trying to understand that at one point you were saying from going from the 15th dimension down, that we are multiple beings that go into more singular beings. Does that make sense?
Yeah, the soul groups group themselves in 12s, and each of those, say, 12 nodes or circles has 12 more, and then each of those circles have 12 more. So it's like a fractalizing 12 aspects of the personalities or identities. The 12 disciples, the 12 cranial nerves, the 12 hours. That's how consciousness downstepped itself from a unified field of energy into a fractalized, individual being to experience itself.
And at what point does it become individual? Like, at what dimension? So like, we know that from the 15th dimension, it's a unified field. It's multiple. Am I right in saying multiple consciousnesses?
Well, this is the unified consciousness. There is no more separation at this level. It's all unified, the universal conscious mind. So as you go down, you get more fractalized, and as you go up, you get more unified.
Right. So 10th dimension would be like like maybe 3 beings?
Yeah, so it goes Rishi, and then avatars, there's 12 avatars, and then there's 144 oversouls, and then there's 144 times 12. That's like uh something thousand, and then at the incarnate it's like 20,000 incarnate identities. So down here we're like super fractalized, you know what I'm saying, and time vectors. And then as you go up the scale, you assimilate those different parts of yourself into your template to how do I sell it, unify the polarization that's happened to us. So consciousness, you know, down steps itself from no structure, you know, from a unified field of just pure energy awareness. And as it goes down, it goes into more and more and more structure to experience itself more fractalized and more complex. Okay. Because when something like a rock, if you got a solid rock or you got powder, the powder will dissolve more because it's got more surface area. It's got more place on it to experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. Okay. I'm going to leave it there for the questions because I have so many coming. I'm going to write them down and I don't want to kind of go off topic.
Oh,
So,
and like I said, this, all that I'm going over, this is a lifetime of work, but I'm giving it to you in an hour and a half. So it's something that, you know, you have to go over and over and over because it's a frequency thing. All
okay.
you have to do is raise the frequency. And when you go back, you'll be able to digest more than you did before.
Okay, amazing. Can I just say, is there a diagram that I can find somewhere that, because I'm visual, right? So
Of course. Oh, there was a lot of diagrams, but I didn't want to put too many in here because the more diagrams I put, the longer it'll take.
oh, okay. But I mean, just to understand like the fractalization going up.
Oh, of course, there's a stair step creation, and then there's the cathara grid diagrams that I can send you, which there's plenty of diagrams, hundreds, maybe thousands of diagrams that you can look at. Trust me.
Okay, amazing. Thanks. Thanks
Yes.
so much. You can carry on.
Which
Sorry.
actually I will say is actually the most important part of the work, because every other multidimensional knowledge work, they just got words, and you can only perceive so much with just words. But with the diagrams, it gives you a visual scalar field code that when you look at it, it brings online those Keylons and those nodes in your DNA that remember. You know what I'm saying? This isn't nothing that you heard for the first time. You experience this as you come in to creation. It's just the fact of remembering, reactivating. That's all it is.
Yes, that resonates. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. So the mind scalar technologies, that's what Keylontic is. It's the science of Keylontic. So it's morphogenetic fields, okay, composed of scalar grids, composed of particle string. So just think of it as bubbles within bubbles. Each bubble has its own grid of energy, which things, particle units, which are tiny spheres of energy that replicate. Okay, the particle, particate, and particum. Okay, don't worry about what that is. Just know that the particle and the particum is the light and the sound. The particle is the unified neutral aspect, and the sound and the light pop out of the particle um, at a 90-degree angle. Okay, and then they expand and contract at certain ratios that crystallize things what are known as keylons, which then create keylon codes, which then create the crystallizations of solid things that we see. Okay, so whenever you project your consciousness, okay, everything is unified field. Every point, every atom, every molecule is the whole universe in its entirety, from the top to the bottom. It is truly a fractal holographic nature of reality. So when you put your consciousness in any location, any part of your body, any part of the room, anywhere, you're accessing that space-time location of everything in the universe just by putting that consciousness there. So you have 3 glands. You have your pituitary, pineal, and hypothalamus. Okay, pituitary being, pineal being the master crystal. Okay, pituitary and hypothalamus are like the secondary. But it's just funny that they're in a relationship as a triangle formation. So when you look at geometry, okay, which geometry is just a instructional DNA scalar wave template, you know, when you look at that, you're aware of what it is. Okay, it's an instruction manual with information, okay, with certain angles, and you look at that, and you just look at it. That's all you gotta do. You ain't gotta read nothing. You don't have to listen to nothing. You don't have to do nothing but simply stare at it. And by staring at the code or whatever it is that you're staring, it's inducting that pattern in your field, which is why if you stare at something a long time and you look away, that imprint will be in your vision. That's called pineal induction, which is actually, to me, the most important thing of multidimensional science and how to work with it, is what you're looking at, okay? So you look at a code, a mandala, cathara grid, lotus, whatever you want to look at, okay? Stare at it for, let's say, a minute, 2 minutes, and then you breathe in the information or the code through your eyeballs, okay? Boom, and then close your eyes. Simple. You cross your eyes until, they create. So usually if you look at it, you kind of either look at it kind of cross-sided or relaxed, so it creates two images, and then you combine these and that'll overlay the image and it will magnify it. Okay, so you cross your eyes, look up 45 degrees and project it inside of your, what is known as your kundalini cranial center, which is in the forehead. All right, and that'll reflect it to the center of your brain, which is where your pineal gland is. So you can either put the code directly in the pineal or in between all three crystals, okay, and create like this triangulation effect, okay? And from there, you work with it. You can put it anywhere else, up and down your vertical column, in your feet, in your hands, in the other side of the room, wherever, okay? It's a projection. So you take what you're looking at, capture the image, project it inside your mind, and then project it out of your mind. That's all it is. That's literally the basis of all the frequency visualization, shielding techniques, and DNA activation techniques, everything. Your intention, your imagination, and your breath. That's literally all it is. Okay. I put this in here as a key aspect because if you're going to be working with the mind, then you have to know how it travels. Okay, it travels via the Merkaba fields. The Merkaba fields are the circulatory system of the energy template of the DNA morphogenetic field. Okay, what we're taught is, toroids, man, toroids. Well, the toroid is a part of the picture, just like a equilateral triangle is 180 degrees, while a square is 360. Okay, they give us a triangle. Okay, we only access 180. Okay, the toroid is found on the inside of cones and the inside of spirals. Okay, it's not found on the outside. So anytime that you're projecting your consciousness or need to get it in and out your body, you would imagine the cones of energy, okay, with the toroids inside of that. And this will properly transport whatever image or whatever thing that you're trying to do. When you're breathing, simple as that. The magnetic, so you have a bottom cone and a top cone. The top cone is electrical, bottom cone is magnetic. Top cone spirals from the top into your body clockwise. Magnetic energy comes out from the earth and contracting energy counterclockwise. So the only difference between electrical and magnetic energy is the polarization and spiral rotation. Okay. Clockwise is electrical, counterclockwise is magnetic. That's all there's counter rotating spirals, and this creates interaction for new life. Okay, like a male and female come together to create a baby. Well, male and female energies come together to create and self-sustain itself perpetually. Okay. There's something else I was going to say. Oh, so one thing I wanted to go over is the shields. So you have shields in your body. So right here in the center of these cones, there is a disc of energy with a sphere at the center. This is where the energy is gathered and collected into what is known as a form constant. Okay. And then there's a vertical shield of energy or a disc of scalar wave energy. Then you have one at your heart. That's your thoracic shield. Boom. Like 6 feet wide. If you stick your fingertips out, it should be like 6 inches on each side of your fingertips. Okay. Then you have one at your pineal gland. That's your etheric shield. Boom. And then you have one 12 inches below your feet, which is your Maharic shield. And then there's the planetary shield, which is the D12, humongous, pale silver, Maharic frequency, but it's just frequency that's spinning in a disc shape. If you know anything about astrology, there's known as accretion disk. The accretion disk is the same thing as a density shield. So each shield holds 3 dimensions of consciousness. Telluric is dimensions 1, 2, and 3. Chakra 1, 2, and 3. Doratic shield coming out at the heart is dimensions 4, 5, and 6. Okay. Your Turk shield is 7, 8, and 9, comes out your pineal. And then 10, 11, 12 is 12 inches below your feet. Okay. So the shields is very, very important. The shields just the lost aspects of energy science or energy mechanics. Everybody knows about Merkaba, everybody knows about energy fields, but the shields is how you heal, because the shield is what controls how much information is pulled into your energetic structure. And it's what shields you, literally. So when you have all your shields activated, then you take the shield below your feet and you connect it, you pull it up around you on the inhale, and you connect it to your 14th chakra 36 inches above your head. And that seals your energetic field inside of your shield, which protects you. It's a pillar of light, a pillar of D12, pale white, 144 subharmonic spectrum frequency, which no being on the planet can touch you, because they run on a Kabbalah template. Cathara grid, 12 spheres, 12 strands. Kabbalah, 10 spheres, 10 strands. So they can only access 10 dimensions of consciousness, while we have the ability to act full 12 dimensions. Okay. So the shields, the Cathara points, the chakras, the Merkaba fields, pineal induction, and the breath, that's the core of it all. Literally, all you have to do is learn more about each of these, and unstoppable, invincible, invisible. Literally, this is why they suppress this information, because this shows you how complex, how beautiful, how wonderful, how powerful we all really are, because of what we're made of and what we're capable of. Okay. This
Could
is
you
the pillar I
repeat
was
the
talking
last bit of what you were saying about breath? I didn't really catch that.
Oh, so wait, let me get some OJ, got dry mouth. So the science of the shields. So when you learn about your shields, okay, you also learn about Huba bodies, which Huba bodies are spherical energy capsules that are around the shields, which separate the dimensions of consciousness from experiencing each other. So the Huba body that comes out your telluric shield, that's the Nada Huba body. Then your Doratic shield is the Alpha Huba body, and then your Turic shield is the Raja Huba body, and your Mahart shield is the Mahara Huba body. So the Huba bodies are the, I would say, capsules or locks, energetic locks that keep the dimensions from bleeding into the other dimensions or experiencing or overlapping each other. So the Huva bodies are locks, the star crystal seals in between the chakras are locks, and then in between the shields you have locks, and then there's locks on your cathar lines. So there's all locks and seals that are meant to keep you stationed, only peering from 3D, only for a certain amount of time. Okay, they're not meant to be open all the time, or else we'd be experiencing all levels of reality at all time. We couldn't function in a normal matrix. So the goal is to become of the locks and realize that you're the key, and the key is the breath. That's it. That makes sense?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Yes. So important thing I want to note is the Akasha. So we know about spheres, we know about eggs, but what about the flame? Okay. The flame is the highest energetic capacity holding shape there is. Why? So a sphere, right? Sphere is 360. Then an egg, and then a flame. The flame, when you look at a flame, I mean, I also see a teardrop too. So between water and fire, we think these things is two different things, but they're really the same thing. Fire is associated with a tetrahedra, water is associated with a icosahedra. So at their core shape, they're crystals. Okay. So the flame, the tip acts as an incoming vortex. Think of it as a spiral. If you got circles within circles within circles, those circles aren't going to interact with each other unless you make all the circles the same size. So in order to expand your consciousness, you have to work with the flame. Because if you got flames within flames within flames, and all these flames are at different angles and they're different sizes, well, they'll overlap. You know what I'm saying? They're able to communicate with the next dimensional frequency band. So the flame is the shape that you imagine around your body to be able to pull in that higher frequency. It's like a connection tube. So if you just imagine a sphere, that's a form constant. That's a self-circulatory loop of energy that's not pulling energy in and it's not putting energy out. It's a constant. And then the egg is a transition energy shape in between the flame and the sphere. But the flame is the constant direct connection to the next frequency band around your aura field. That makes sense? Right, got that?
No, I don't have that. I don't understand that.
Okay.
But where does the flame come from? And is it? I don't understand. Sorry.
The flame is the eternal shape of God's source. It's the how do I want to say it? The original formation of eternal consciousness. That's the form it takes on. Is the flame, the fire, the living light. You know what I'm saying? So how do I want to say it? Like I said, if you put circles within circles, and the next circle, let's just say, is an inch bigger than the next. Okay. Those circles aren't touching each other, right? They're not interacting with each other. They have a space in between them, like a void zone. Okay. If you was to take those circles and put a tip on it, and that tip will overlap the next circle, now that circle represents your energy field, and now it's able to pull energy in from that next dimensional frequency band into that current dimensional band. That makes sense? Because the tip is just the side view of a vortex, of a spiral. Okay. So a flame is a circle with a spiral at the top coming into it. Is what able to pull energy in and anchor it into that structure. So the flame is the energetic scalar symbol code that is able to activate the higher energetic capacities of the body. Okay. So the Akasha is the capstone symbol code or God-seed code for this time matrix. The Akasha symbol code represents the higher frequency holding capacity of our planetary and personal Templars, assisting us in expediting our heroic probability. So you have spheres, eggs, and flames. That's all I'm saying. So if you want to draw energy and true higher dimensional frequency, you would just imagine a flame around your body or around your pineal, and then you put whatever code you want inside of that Akasha, and then you move it and do whatever you want with it. Simple. It's just imagination.
Okay, what color do we imagine? Like what color flame?
So the Akasha is D13, all right, so which is pale blue or turquoise. So when you imagine the flame, well, there's three flames. There's the Ki Rache, the Ki, which is the pale blue, which is the core flame, the core shield. And then you have the Ra, which is pale yellow, the sun. That's the next flame around that. And then you have the She, which is the pale pink magenta flame. So it's the blue flame, it's the pink flame with a yellow flame with a blue flame inside that, the Ki Rache. With blue being the core, which is why it's at Earth's core, because it's the blueprint. It's the core of our, how do I want to say it, of our time matrix, D13, Ki.
And would that be above our head then?
No, the D13 will be at Earth's core, but your personal son of God, your Ra chakra, D14, is 36 inches above your head. So you link your pillar up there, you take whatever thing you want and spiral it around your field at your D14. Okay. And then D15 is like the last frequency band that wraps around all the other ones. So it has like no specific location. They say it's like below Earth's core, but that don't really make no sense to me. So I imagine it as like the last frequency band around me that contains all the other frequency bands within it. That makes sense.
Okay, yeah, I might have to come back to this one, but thank you.
Oh, this is going to be something. If you're interested, you'll be unfolding for the rest of your life.
Thank you.
Lifestyle. So any questions for, I was just going to share some breath techniques, and this is the end, really.
Yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to come off mute before. Otherwise, we can always do the questions after. Or
I've got some questions, but I'm happy to save them until after. I just want to say that this is helping me sort of connect the dots, especially for things like meditation and connecting to my higher self. I'm very vision like you are. Like, I need to see things, and seeing these slides that you've got has just helped me to integrate it a bit more, I think. So
100%.
you.
I'm actually almost strictly visual. Like, that work all strictly visual. So I totally get y'all. I have plenty diagrams. I just didn't want to flood the presentation with too many,
I know,
because
right?
then I'll really get carried away.
Yeah, and like you say, this is a lifetime thing, and I'm sensing, I'm like, oh my god, this is just like a whole nother degree I've got to learn.
To confirm that
good.
even more, I will admit I've only scratched the tip of the iceberg.
I could imagine. Yeah,
Literally the PhD of spirituality.
Exactly. But the thing about it, we're all the mad scientists, we're all the gurus, we're all the masters. This is all inside of us, and nothing that I just told you is beyond anybody's grasp, only maybe at a higher frequency. So before I go further, I wanted to notice this might help give perspective to maybe why a lot of this seems to go over the head or not clicking, is because each dimension has 12 sub-frequency bands, okay? So in 3 dimensions, that's 36 subharmonics, okay? All mainstream academia, the doctorates, the PhDs, all the science academies, anything intellectual you can think of teaching in schools is only 36 subharmonics of frequency, okay? Keylontics is 6-dimensional frequency, which why we call indigos, why they call us indigos, because we come in with 6 strands of DNA active, which gives our aura field that blue hue because we had that frequency band activated in our fields. Okay. So this information is 36, 62 or 64 subharmonics of frequency. Okay, which is like double the amount of frequency that anything they could ever possibly teach you in any school. Okay, that's all it is. So all you have to do is simply just work with the codes, work with the breath, do the frequency techniques, sing, tone, move your body, and accrete the frequency, and keep accreting it until you get to a point that this no longer is complicated. It's no longer goes over your head. And to do that, you also have to learn the jargon. The jargon, the scientific words, are all loaded with meaning. And when you hear those words over and over again, if you don't understand the word, then all the context behind that is lost. So learning the jargon and raising your frequency is all you need, because intelligence has jack shit to do with the brain and 100% to do with the level of your frequency of your body and your aura fields. But luckily, you can get smarter overnight. That's the beautiful thing of it. Really, it's that simple.
If it helps anyone, I know it really has helped me to get over this. There's a Keylontic dictionary that you can find online that has every single bit of terminology with definitions relating to different articles of work through Keylontic Science. If you do like a Google search, or maybe DuckDuckGo, because that's what I use. I don't know if Google may have it or not, I'm not too sure. But it's very easily obtainable online. It will be a PDF. It's very long. It's like 444 pages long, something like that. But it majorly helps going through this work.
Can you please send a link to that in the group, please?
I will have a quick search now, and if I can find a link for it, I'll send it through.
Fabulous.
But also, like you said, that is actually one of the files that you can easily, all you have to do is type in Keylontic Science Dictionary, and it'll be the first thing that pops up. And you can access it there. And if anybody wants it, I also have a file so you can have it on your own. And then he's got, yes, that is actually the #1 thing that helped me learn all the jargon. KS Dictionary. Man, very, very valuable. Probably the #1 thing anybody needs before they get into further work. Really.
Thanks.
So thank you for sharing that.
I'm going to start there then.
Yes. So if no more questions, this is just, we don't have do it now. I just wanted to share. This is 3 different algorithms that I've come up with to get up. So in Keylontics, they teach you the techniques which is just taking a symbol code with a specific energy or color from the pineal, breathing it down your central vertical column, putting it in the earth's core, drawing in the energy there, pulling it up with the tube connected to it, linking it to 12 inches below your feet with your heart shield. You breathe out that scalar shield, you breathe it up to your heart, expand it there, you breathe it up to 36 inches above your head, you link the Akasha there, and then you pull up your shield and boom. Okay, that's just the basic. I know that sounds like a lot, but that's the basics of energy work. You're taking that code, putting it in different parts of the anatomy of earth in your body, and then you're activating stuff. So, but then they just do that. They don't focus on breath work. But and how I took it to the next level and advanced quickly, like overnight, like it's literally like every day I like double what I knew before. And it's a constantly growing process. You know, nobody never got tired from learning, you know. So breath work, there's 3 algorithms. 33 breaths. I only did 33 breaths because when I do this during my classes, if I was to do, 90 breaths, that would take a lot longer because we're timing the breaths. So the in breath is magnetic, the out breath is electrical. The in breath stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, the out breath stimulates your parasympathetic nervous system. Okay. So at the ratio between the in breath and out breath is everything, is literally the most important thing on the fucking planet, because that is your program, that is your vehicle. Your in breath to the out breath. In Keylontics, I didn't get into part of K and part of Com and Keylon grids and all that, but in dimensions, all there is a part of K and part of Com, and the part of K is the light, part of Com is the sound, and it's the ratio between these that determines the frequency and the density of that dimensional band. And that's all it is electrical and magnetic energy at different ratios. And as you go up the scale, it gets more electrical and less magnetic. And then if you're down in D1, D2, and D3, in the lower dimensions, it's more magnetic, more compacted. Okay. So the in breath, what we do to start off is you go in 3 seconds and then out 6 seconds. So this is a doubling ratio, which activates the crystal spirals in your fields. Okay. Because when you're breathing, you're pulling in spirals of energy, and when you're conscious of the shape of these spirals, where they're coming from, where they're going to, where all that increases your frequency of the body tremendously. Okay, so 33 breaths, 3 seconds in, 6 seconds out, and then the locks on the final inhale. So this is all diaphragmic breathing from the belly, so that's where our ego is stationed, right there at the solar plexus. All right, so belly breathing, and then the locks are charges. Okay, so you pull up your rectum like you're doing a Kegel, push out your stomach, put the tongue at the top of your roof of your mouth, and cross your eyes and look up. And you do that like 5 to 10 seconds, and that activates the DMT in your body, which raises your frequency and intelligence and awareness tremendously. Okay, so you start off with a doubling crystal spiral sequence activation. Okay, get those doubling sequence running in your fields. Then you would do a supercharge round where you do 30 breaths or 45 or whatever, in and out as deep and as fast as you can. Not stressful where you want to feel like you pass out, but just, and you just keep the rhythm. The rhythm is the most important thing, okay? Because your breath algorithm aligns with the bigger time cycles, okay? So the hours of the day, the minutes, the seconds, the months, the years, it's all waves. And if you're running on a chaotic, unrhythmic rhythm, breathing algorithm, then you're going to be aligning to the chaotic, unrhythmic, unsymmetrical, holographic projections in your field, okay? So in order to align, harmonize, and grow, you have to fix your algorithm, okay? That's all you have to do. It's like binary code. The ones and zeros. The ones is the positive, the high voltage, and the zero is the negative, low voltage. So it's at the ratio that you're programming your computer system or your biological system is what determines. So 30 breaths, and then the 31st breath, you'll tone out ki, 30-second breath, ra, and then shay. And at the end of that, you would hold it empty, like empty, no air in your stomach for as long as you can. And then you would inhale and do your locks. Boom. You should be feeling like you're on pure ecstasy at that point. And then to top it off, you would do 33 breaths or 45 or 60 or 90, doesn't matter. The more the merrier. Please do more than 33, okay? This would be the harmonization round. It would be like the wrap-up round that would close it. Okay, so you would do 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out. This is known as what is spherical breathing. Okay, this is what the yogis use to activate their Merkaba, but this is like the last thing you should do, not the first thing. So 4 seconds in, 4 seconds out, or 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, 8 seconds in, 8 seconds out. Just match the in breath with the out breath, and this will harmonize your fields, analyze and symmetrify your energies. Okay, very, very important. If you listen to a song and that drummer ain't got no rhythm, I don't think you'd want to listen to that song. So why would you want to experience a universal song or a play or a movie or a game if it ain't got no rhythm? Because everything is music, and the breath is music, because everything is the breath, and the breath is sound, and sound is light. Everybody got that? And that'd be it. And do your locks. That, you try that once or twice a day, and I promise you, you'll be feeling like Einstein after about a month. Be overloaded.
Can I ask if the out breath is through the mouth or nose? Through the mouth.
Just make sure the in breath is always through the nose, because that's what filters and actually spirals the energy into your cranial system, okay, and filters that energy. But you can breathe out your mouth or out your nose or out your mouth and your nose. That's not really important. I find it when I do quick breathing, like if I only breathe through my nose, that actually stresses me too much, and I don't like that. I feel uncomfortable, so I have to breathe out my mouth and take my tongue off the roof of my mouth, and that you'll be able to breathe more deeper and faster in through the nose and out through the mouth. Yes.
So a yogi, I think, I don't know, but he was saying about prana. Is it prana, this breathing technique? Does this ring any bells, the word prana?
I mean, prana is what I was going over in the rays. That's the ray electrotonal signature for 4D energy. So fourth dimensional astral energy, heart energy, that's prana.
But the breathing, that's linked to it.
Oh yeah, you can. So the idea when you're breathing, you're choosing a dimensional frequency band that you want to run. So if you want to run prana, you would go to your heart, the green energy, and you would breathe in and out that chakra. You want to run a mira or haya or maya, or you would go to those chakras that corresponds to that ray name, because it's the 15 rays. The rays is the calling code or the calling signature to resonate with that frequency band, and then to breathe that frequency band.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Any more questions?
I got loads.
Please ask away.
I forgot I was on mute, and I was like talking away. Oh my god. Okay, let me just like go up my questions for a quick second. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit. How would you explain unified field theory? Like, everything all happening at once?
Yes.
Yeah.
So, everything is made of morphogenetic fields, right? I do have diagrams for this and visualizations, but I just didn't put it in here. So, everything is made of part of chi units, okay, which pops out 2 other energy units, which is the part of K and part of cum. So the part of chi is like the void or the center point or God source, okay? And it's everywhere at once, and everything is polarized. And so think of it like you're watching a movie, right? The pixels on the screen, it's just red, green, and yellow, or red, blue, and yellow, whatever, the primary colors. And then you're watching the screen and it looks like it's moving, but it's just the pixels changing their color to give the appearance of motion. But each of those pixels contains those 3 colors. And let's just say the yellow is the central color. Okay. And if you go into yellow into that one pixel, you can access all the other pixels on the screen. Okay. Because that's like the center point. So at each atom or each proton, there's a neutron window. Okay, which the energy, the part of chi units pop out through fission, and then they reemerge through fusion, and then go back into the part of chi, and then they replenish themselves, and then pop back out as double or 4. Okay, so every point in space is every point in space. And we're in 3D, which is the 6 directions, the cube, which is why we experience past, I mean, it's the past, present, north, south, east, and west, past, future, and then the presence at the center. And at the center of the atom is where everything's converging at now. So that would take a fair amount of time to explain Keylontic's perspective of time and the linear reality of multidimensional physics. But it's like you're standing in a river, right? And you're looking down at your toes. It looks like you're moving forward, you know, like through the water, but it's really the water going past through you. Okay. That's all I can say for now, without diagrams to back up what I'm saying, because then it's hard.
Yeah, no, I think I'm kind of with you, and I can always rewatch this back anyway. I had an experience with like a negative entity a couple years ago, and that being took me to, maybe you can help me decipher what the hell happened to me. It took me to another consciousness whilst I was still here. So I was in another place while I was still here, and I was conscious in both places.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is that like, I mean, how
oh yeah, that's just bivector, multi-vector consciousness. I was talking about. So when you go to sleep, 2/3 of our consciousness goes into the astral realms, and the other third gets stuck in your mental fields. And so the 2/3 go to like these chaotic astral fields, all right, and which is like full of reversals. You know, that's just the way they set up the astral planes, okay? But that's not always going to be like that. But you can heal that and access organic astral planes. But most of us, all of us, go to the chaotic, which is why our dreams are crazy. We don't remember what the hell, don't make no sense. And so we pick up the reversals there. And then when we come back, that 2/3 of our astral body actually merges those new reversals into the 1/3. And that's where the REM sleep comes from, the rapid eye movement. That's whenever that 2/3 is like mushing itself back to the, or pure 1/3 that usually stays in your fields. So sometimes you have your dreams in your mental fields, which is why like some things seem really logical, very realistic, you know, like everyday life. And then you have those crazy wild experiences that like make no sense, maybe kind of scary, fucked up. That's in the chaotic planes. So I think you were just had your consciousness, you was aware in your mental fields and wherever else she was at in the astral fields.
So I was like awake though here. I was woken up because my body was vibrating, right? And
okay.
my body was vibrating just above the bed. And I could tell that I wasn't on the bed. Like I was awake, right? Like how I'm awake right now. And it was happening to me. And it took my consciousness somewhere else, but I could still feel, and I was still aware and conscious that I was vibrating above my bed.
Dang.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
how do I make sense of that experience? I wasn't sleeping. I was sleeping, but I got woken up by the experience.
So maybe most of your consciousness was stationed there, but when you got woken up, like part of it got sucked to your body, and then the other part stayed there. And so you was observing it, you know, like, and like I said, the 4D is just as real as 3D. It's just the frequency band that it's on, and that your consciousness is stationed there. So when I say your consciousness, I mean your ego. Everybody thinks the ego is bad, but the ego is what allows you for individual experience instead of unified experience. So the ego is just the individual lens that you look out of, but you got other lenses, you know, but most of the time people can only access one dimension with one lens or one set of eyeballs at a time. So it's like you have two sets of eyeballs because your consciousness was there at that frequency band and those fields around your body, because all the dimensions are around your body. So the fourth dimension is like, you know, maybe a couple feet around your body, like a green band of energy that has a specific angular rotation particle spin, different from the previous band. So it appears separate than that band.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
So when you dream, you go to a outer part of your field, of your morphogenic field, your aura field. Your aura field is the dimensions of consciousness. People just think that's energy, but each chakra corresponds to dimension, corresponds to that band, like a ball of energy around you. And as you go up the dimensional scale, the bands get bigger and they get wider, and you expand your consciousness. You know what I'm saying? So when you go to your heart, let's just say that's 3 feet around your body. So your consciousness is stationed in your morphogenetic field 3 feet around your body in all directions. That 360 sphere of consciousness. Make sense? Spheres within spheres.
Yeah, I actually had an experience on plant medicine where I saw all the bubbles of reality. So
that's
that
dope.
Yeah, like that really resonated when you said that, and it actually sparked the memory of that when you said bubbles within bubbles. I was like, oh, I've seen that.
Oh, the thing that I forgot to tell everybody when I was explaining about my mushroom journey is the reason why that was significant, because I had experience through mushrooms. And then when I come into Keylontics, it literally explained almost every single experience I had, but with a scientific background and logic and geometry and shapes and diagrams. So when I would trip mushrooms, I would see the net in the sky. It was like big flower of life all in the sky, like every time. And I probably tripped mushrooms like 100 times at this point. And usually, I'm not gonna lie, I don't do less than 3 grams. It's like 5 grams and above. You either go hard or go home. So when I would take them, I would see it every single time. It was like, and clouds would come out of nowhere. It'd be a perfectly clear day. And then as soon as I take mushrooms, this like artificial chemtrail clouds would appear. And then the clouds would arrange themselves as overlapping circles. And it made this big ass flower of life over me. I was like, what the hell is this? Bro, look at the flower of life. But none of my other friends would see it. And I was like, bro, what the fuck is this? And then all the grass would be symmetrical. All the trees would be perfectly symmetrical. Look at my skin. I would have like Mayan tribal triangle tattoos all over it that were like translucent. But if you move the skin, it'd still be on there. I've seen like vortexes, like dark vortexes. Had a scarab beetle come out the ground on me. I mean, it's just bunch of different. I've activated my Merkaba on mushrooms in my camper. So when I would breathe in, my AC unit would actually increase its frequency. It would get louder, and then when I breathe out, it would actually when I breathed out, it would get louder. And when I breathe in, it would go back to normal. So it was like affecting the electricity around me. But that was on mushrooms. So I had all these experiences. I didn't know what to think about. I couldn't find no information on the sky. But then when I come into Keylontics, I learned about the net, the Nibirian electrotransduction field, a frequency fence that they have over everybody, which keeps everybody phase locked or locked in at that certain level of frequency, not able to peer past the veil, which is why, mushrooms is legal, because it allows people to see past this veil. So then I learned that when I took mushrooms, all it did was activate my 4th Merkaba around me and my 4th heart chakra, which is why you feel that unified experience of just pure connected love with everything in the universe, because it activates your chakra wide open. And when you do that, you experience that 4th dimensional frequency band that has 12 more subharmonics around you. So you see that layer, you see 4D in 3D fully when you take mushrooms. That's really what you're seeing. And you see what's in your DNA template. If you got reversals and other stuff in your template, you're going to see that projected in your 4D realm. So I've never seen like no trippy magic mushroom dragons or like elves or nothing crazy or like that. I've only just seen reality and HD, like everything symmetrical, everything beautiful, everything intact. But I would also see the films and the layers and the deception that they try to,
this
put
is
everybody
on. I keep my eyes closed, and I do it like in a sacred ceremonial setting when I do mushrooms. But this is exactly what I saw. I saw one time, like not to like get on the conversation of mushrooms, but like I just have to quickly say that I saw the layers of myself, right, being stripped away. And I saw like the layers of the illusion, exactly what you just said. And it was like, how lines and coding, I saw lines and coding, like lines coming down from the sky.
Oh, were they like rods all at different angles, like connecting the clouds and stuff?
I mean, they were all straight. They were all
yeah, they're all like straight rods, all interconnecting each other.
Yes. I saw.
And they're like invisible strings, right?
It was, yeah, they're really thin. It was like almost like white looking, like something
Yep,
like
I know exactly what you're talking about. I also forgot to mention I would see that too when I didn't see the flower of life.
there were codes in them though. Like when I went up close to some of them, there were like codes in there, and I was like, oh my God.
Dang.
Don't you
It's
just
pretty
love
interesting.
psychedelics?
What'd you say?
Don't you just love psychedelics?
Oh man, the thing about it is, like a lot of people have issue with them, but for real, if it wasn't for the mushroom, when I come into Keylontics, if I would have, it would have not registered as deep, made sense, gave me aha moments, answered my questions. So Keylontics for me validated my multidimensional experiences and gave me answers to questions that I was desperately seeking. That's why it registered for me.
And used
What's
correctly,
up?
I said they're just tools, and used correctly,
100%.
it's just proof that when used correctly, like you're no exception for that. It's proof that how amazing potential they have the ability to provide someone.
Facts, but there's also the dangers of opening up your
100%.
astral field without protection, which is also why Keylontics was much more valuable to me.
Yeah.
And I treasured it because I was like, damn,
Gives
this
you
was the shielding.
understanding.
Exactly, the understanding of your energetic anatomy and how to take your power back by shielding your fields, which is what everybody needs to do before they ever take any psychedelic substance or anything that you do. Really, you take the power, shield your energetic field, and really you do what you want to. It's like you're going into war, right? With bombs going over your head, bullets flying. Would you want to go in that war with flip-flops and a bicycle?
No,
or would you want to go in the war with a tank? You know what I'm saying? That's what that is. The Maharic current, Kirashe current, is a tank. It's an unreversed current because it's triadic. It has its connection to its center, and it's eternal living light, Shale light. So it can't be reversed. So it's eternal and it can't be reversed. So it's like armor, and you're running these frequencies with the tones and the awareness of where they're coming from and where they're going. And I'm telling you, invincible. I don't have to worry about nobody messing with me or no targeted individuals or Zetas trying to duck me because they can't fuck with me. Okay, because it's mind over matter. They can't fuck with y'all. There's nothing, anything, anybody can do to you unless you allow it. It's the law of energy. You either consent to it subconsciously or indirectly by some shape, form, or fashion, or and some beings do tread over free will. So don't ever think that free will alone will keep you protected. No, it's your awareness of the free will and standing on the free will and making sure that you don't consent to any of the energetic contracts, because there's the energy going in and the energy coming out, and you have the say so of where that energy is coming from and where it's going to. And once you take full consciousness awareness of that back, everything clicks. Ultimate powerful, like literally you're a walking Superman, and they want us dumbed down, forgotten, sad, stuck with bills, relationship problems, all this other shit, 3D drama bullshit, instead of tapping into our power. Because if 3 people wake up to this level of reality and fully apply it, change the world. Imagine if 144,000 people were all operating on the same energetic awareness. Because if you just work with matter, you're only going to get so far. But if you upstep that and work with the energy that makes the matter, that's how you get shit done. That's how you make change. Okay, so it's mind over matter, because if it don't matter, it don't mind. Okay,
I love that. How do we raise our frequency naturally, like so without these tools, as amazing as they are? Like
breathing, simply breathing. There's levels to it. You want to increase 1% every day, which is 365% a year, or would you want to increase 33% a day or 100% a day? It's just how much you want to increase the frequency at how quick you want to increase it. That's all. It's all up to you. Me, I like to go hard or go home. I'm gonna apply everything into one melting pot and magnify and amplify it, because the bigger the bang, I like big bangs. So that's what I like to do. If I'm just breathing and not doing nothing, not moving nothing around, I'm only doing so far. I'm only taking so much of my power back. But once you just imagine a geometry in your mind, or imagine a certain color, or just tone a little bit, you combine those and that amplifies your intentions tremendously, and you get much further down the road with less gas. That's all it is.
I thought I practice sound alchemy,
which is beautiful. Love it.
I love it. Like I've been like I love it so much. So the vision and the intention, the imagination that I have is tuning the cells and the body back into alignment. Is there any kind of other suggestions or advice that you could give me on enhancing this practice?
Take the 4 tools. So you got the sound, right? To take it to the next level, get a geometric shape like a pyramid or a star tetrahedron or like a code mandala, and you put it over the person, and when you're doing the sound, that shape will resonate with that sound and amplify, magnify that sound. You want to do it more, put a crystal on on whatever that is, that'll amplify. You want to go higher, you take a laser, you beam the crystal into that structure with the sound, and voila. You know, it's much more things that you can do, is different levels and different layers. So you can always just add more into the sound, not do anything different, but multiply, which is what it's all about. Okay. Right?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I've got a book here that is called Quadrivium. Quadrivium. And it's basically about all of that: sound, colors, and sacred geometry. So yeah, I'm being really drawn to that.
Awesome.
Can you see auras?
So I have a special gift, and that's that I have been humbled to only experiencing life on the most physical plane possible. So I grew up with, like I said, I didn't believe in aliens, I didn't believe in space, didn't experience nothing extraordinary. My life has been boring as far as the spiritual aspect because I didn't believe in it. Only until I started taking mushrooms did I bring on, how do I want to say it, activated certain capabilities, even more so than before. So I don't see auras, but I see light. So when I'm looking, there's like light fields. Like when I get into my breathing, it starts in my peripheral and then it contracts and it goes to the center. And then it keeps doing that. And then I see, like in the center of my vision, there's like a little tunnel, and these little tiny black vortices or dots zip to the center, like pew, 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 pew. It's like I'm either coming backwards out of a tunnel or they're contracting to the center. And so I see that. And then ever since I tripped mushrooms, I never stopped tripping, because if I just look, everything's wavy all the time, 100%, never stops. Like it's always like the ground is always like breathing and wavy. But as far as auras, I haven't activated that yet. No.
Okay, that sounds so cool still.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if anybody seen that, because I still don't even know what that is. Like especially at night, when I'm laying in my bed at night, my eyes will be wide open and I can see all that light and energy start here, contracts, get brighter and brighter and brighter, and then it disappears, and then it just resets, and then boom, 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 and it's like a cloud of energy. So I just wanted to ask.
What color is it?
It's usually white or light blue. Yeah, sometimes light yellow, very rare, but it's mainly like behind you, the little sun on the edge of the earth is usually that color or white. Yeah.
Amazing.
And it's eyes open or eyes closed, it don't matter. I see it.
Wow. That is
crazy. Tripping all the time. I swear some like DMT got left and it hasn't left my body yet. So I haven't tripped mushrooms in like a year and a half, strictly because my life is trippy enough now. I don't need any psychedelics.
Wow, that is so cool.
Which is what the way everybody should get. No, go ahead.
Sorry, I was going to say that I've never done mushrooms, but I have done. It just reminded me I have done DMT. I don't remember, but I don't think I was with the best person when I did it, and I just remember everything just being like, everything was moving, it was growing. The colors were like
breathing, right?
Like vivid. Yeah, it was unreal. And
That's
so
beautiful.
yeah, if you're still wavy, I couldn't imagine being like that.
Oh yeah,
I'm not doing 4 grams. I'm going to do 1 gram.
Say the breath itself is psychedelic. You can activate all the same things, DMT, mushrooms, all with the breath, which is the organic. Get high on your own supply.
Well, I read that DMT is in our lungs.
Yeah, it's at the bottom of your lungs, which is
Yeah.
why diaphragmic breathing is your diaphragm going up and down, stimulating that part where the DMT is released. And when you do the locks, it creates like an energetic circuit that allows that DMT to be released in the blood.
This
Beautiful.
is making so much sense now. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, cool. I trip whenever I do my locks. Sometimes I pass out, and it's the most beautiful experience ever. Whoa. And it's like it resets me or something. And the ecstasy in my body is pure DMT sensory experience every time. It's actually so powerful that like I get scared to do it sometimes. It's too powerful, for real.
Well, I'm only doing 1 gram when I do it my first go. So, yeah.
Hey, I either say 5 is all you need or 3.5 because like I don't advocate mushrooms, but in order to expedite the multidimensional awareness level, there is nothing more organic, more pure, more beneficial than my experience. And I've picked all my own mushrooms in the fields and dried them out in the sun with the crystals and did this ceremony. Like I took it very, very seriously, and I got a lot out of it. Like for real, like I will say it is the most helpful tool I've ever had, other than that and the pyramids. To me, the pyramid is giving me the same activation that the mushrooms did, really.
Yeah. So you mean the copper pyramid?
Yeah. So I actually have my baby right here charging with the crystals. So I just put all the crystals. So I take the sucker punch and I hook it up to the pyramid, and then I have the sucker punch crystal wrapped in the center right there. But yeah, I just put the other crystals, and they're just aligning with the cathara scalar grid template, and they just act as scalar wave resonators. Beautiful, wonderful.
Brilliant.
Something that just came to me. I wonder if you put 2 of those, one upside down so the points tip, and grew mushrooms in the middle of that, and what would happen to the mushrooms?
That would be dope.
I know.
It'd probably be dope. Well, that would just be an octahedron. Yeah.
That would be a crazy experience.
The possibilities, I'm literally overwhelmed with all the ideas, all the possibilities, all the implications of this technology. Like for real, bro.
It's endless. It's just your imagination.
Endless, literally. Yeah. I'm a kid again. I'm so excited. I wake up every morning. What am I going to do?
It's amazing when you get the universe structure and the understanding of the fundamentals of the universe. What's the potential that could happen?
Yep. And actually, Keylontics is what unlocked the pyramid activation with me. It's what really clicked and let me see why the pyramids aren't based on 5 and what makes the pyramids so fundamental and so important, because the pyramid is just a 3D representation of the scalar wave template of that angle of light, that projection angle. You know what I'm saying? And it what generates the vortex. If I didn't know about the crystal spiral or cathara grid or the different densities, I mean, the pyramid wouldn't have made sense. It wouldn't have clicked. But because I had all that prerequisite knowledge, I didn't just go out and plan to prove all of academia wrong about pyramids. It just so happened to be that way because I just connected it. I didn't mean to. It just so happened to do that. So the Keylontics, I would say, to wrap up all that I just said, if you're looking to take your spiritual awakening, your physical awakening, or your mental capacity awakening to the next level, there's nothing that offers the depth, the potency of information that Keylontics does. It's spread out all over the place, which is why I offer a class to give people. I mean, I spend 3.5 hours. I mean, what I just did was literally nothing, because there's just a good solid foundation that has to be covered. And the thing about it with everybody else is they don't teach a foundation. They give you the information at lightning speed, but never establish the solid core of what it's about. It's about breathing. It's about awareness. It's about acceptance, healing, love, integrity, standing in your power, not blaming anybody, becoming aware of your body, being a student of yourself. You know, I mean, that's really what it's about. I can get mental and, geometry, but really it's about alignment. It's about who you are and what you want to do with your life and why you're here and what are you going to do. You know what I'm saying? You could just pray to some God or some angel and let them take care of you and then let them use you. Or you could be your own superhero, your own main character of your movie, and you do what you want to. I mean, I don't like nobody telling me what to do. I like to tell me what to do, you know. So which is why this is powerful, because this information has empowered me even more than I was before, and gave a sense of confidence. And confidence is key, because if you ain't got confidence, you've already failed twice in the race of life. Because the confidence, if you're facing whatever evil, let's go polarized, a bad guy, and you say, oh, I'm not scared of you. You know what I'm saying? He's not gonna believe you if you're like, hey, I'm not scared of you, dog. You know what I'm saying? That's a whole different energy. And like, oh damn, maybe he's not scared of me. So if you're gonna do anything, you gotta do it with confidence. That's the main thing in Keylontics. Will give you the knowledge and awareness that'll allow you to be confident when you're doing your energy work, when you're activating your Merkaba, when you're doing grid work, when you're meditating, when you're breath work. You'll have this higher level of knowing of what the hell you're doing, because most people are just breathing. That's all they're doing. That's all you're going to be doing is just breathing. But if you're activating DNA, healing polarity reversals in your chakras, you know, manifesting blueprints for your future reality, or healing the distortions in this energy field, that's what you're doing, because you said that's what you're doing. So it's what you're doing that matters, and you decide that. And if you don't decide that, it'll be decided for you. And I don't think anybody likes the options that, you know, the elite or whatever controlling physical matrix has for us. They want to stick us with needles, dumb us down with alcohol and porn and movies and all this other dumbass shit that don't mean nothing to life. And then you come to the realization that only thing that matters is taking care of yourself, taking care of your family, activating your DNA, expanding your consciousness, and healing. That's all that really matters, in my humble opinion. Maybe not everybody else agrees with me.
No, I love that. Thank you so much. That was so well said. I really want to ask a question about what's happening at the moment. I don't mean to bring it into the now, but I do. So there's lots of videos going around with people sticking keys to themselves and saying, I'm magnetic, something to do with like the vaccine or blah, 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 blah. But this universe is electromagnetic, and the feeling that I'm getting is where we are going through a transition and there's a lot more higher energies coming in. Could it be something to do with that? Do you feel?
100%.
Yeah.
But like I said, when you expand your consciousness, you're not returning to sound, you're returning to light. And light is an oscillative, less dense electrical force. You know what I'm saying? So that is how you expand your consciousness. The Merkaba ratio is 33 1/3 electrical over 11 2/3 magnetic. So the electrical is 2/3 more powerful than the magnetic. What the planet's running on is an overly magnetic Merkaba, a 34 magnetic over 21 electrical. Okay. But just to answer what somebody said about the DNA activation, literally everything I just told you, the breathing, the toning, the moving your body, working with the geometry, that's activating DNA. If you ever get an aha moment, that's DNA activation. That's all you do. By playing with colors, sounds, and numbers and shape is how you activate DNA. All you gotta do is just be a kid again. Draw, you know, get creative, start singing, moving your body, you know what I'm saying? Meditate, do some breath work, project your consciousness. That's activating DNA. That's all it's about. You play to activate DNA. There's no other way. It's literally it. It's fun. But yeah, so I didn't want to forget that person. But as far as now, we're becoming electric. We're returning to the electrical crystalline nature of our reality. You know what I'm saying? Going up the density. We're not getting more density. So vibration is sound, a dense energy. Oscillation is electrical expansive energy. So when people say raise the vibration, that's actually a reverse program that goes on in the planet that I'm here to fix. You don't want to fucking raise your vibration because it's like a seesaw. So the void is the center, vibration is one end, oscillation is the other end. And this is how the ratios are in relationship to each other. So if you raise the vibration, the oscillation will lower. I mean, you know what I'm saying? So the vibration is a contracting to and fro force, and more energy is held in the particuli. It's a slower wavelength. The electron spin speeds up, and it's more magnetic. Okay, so the idea is to fix the ratio. Okay, if you raise the oscillation, the vibration will actually go down. So really, we want to be low vibrational people. We want to lower our vibration. In return, that means in your DNA and your energy fields, you raise your oscillation. The oscillation is the faster frequency, wavelength, slower electron spin, so it doesn't burn out. It's goosebump activations. But yeah, so it's simple. That's why everything I'm working on, I want to incorporate the electrical aspect into it. So all the pyramids, everything that I make, be able to hook a frequency generator up to a sucker punch or hook it up to a grounding, because that electrical nature is what allows you to expand your consciousness. Sound is important too, because sound is what anchors the consciousness, but the light is what expands the consciousness. You need sound to return to source, to replenish, but you need that expansion to take that energy and double itself. So you start off at 1, goes back to the center, doubles itself, pops out as 2. Experience 2, fuses back together, goes back to the center, doubles itself, comes out as 4. Boom, 8, 16, 34. So you need the sound to return to double. You need the expansion ratio more in order to expand. And when you expand, you don't just expand to the same level, you expand to the next level. Okay. So if the vibration and electrical the same, you're just going to be expanding and contracting in the same place. But if the electrical is 2/3 more than the magnetic, when you contract, when you expand more than you did before. When you contract, you expand more than you did before. And you keep growing and expanding and accreting frequency, and your fields get bigger, and you hold more light, and you get smarter, and you heal things. And it's just amazing. It's all about accreting frequency. The only way I got to this point of understanding is literally doing breath work, working with the geometries, doing my daily path work, being humble, being real with myself, and just healing. Because you have to heal first before you grow and expand. So healing, you heal with sound and you expand with light.
What is the difference between frequency and vibration then?
Frequency is vibration, and oscillation are both frequency. Frequency is a blanket term.
So frequency is the makeup of oscillation and vibration together.
Yeah, so you could say raise your frequency. That's good. That just means you're just going to raise the frequency. But if you just say raise your vibration, you're literally reverse programming your fields to keep you dance, which that's literally what it is. Everything we say, everything we do, everything we look at goes through our eyes, goes to our pineal, goes to our Merkaba fields, which then, goes to our pineal, then the chakras, and then the DNA, and that is reflected into the Merkaba fields. So everything you're doing is affecting your DNA at all times, but it's either conscious or unconscious. I would like to consciously program my DNA, which I'm sure everybody else does too, but it's simple. They just want to make that shit complicated, but it's really, really simple. Have fun, play with the right shapes, the right colors, the right numbers, and you get the right results.
Perfect. And how do we, so basically the purpose of this experience is go up and down the fractal, like in a cycle. Is that what we're in? A cycle of going up
What
and
you
down
mean?
the fractal?
Oh yeah, it's all just cycles of time. You know what I'm saying? It's all a to and fro, a in and out. And I believe that we're just a smaller cycle of the bigger cycle. And our breath determines what cycles we're aligning with. I want to align with the eternal spiral cycle. You know what I'm saying? So the cover, the phi spiral, the Fibonacci, these aren't different spirals. They're dueling spirals. They're competing spirals that try to overtake and override the eternal crystal spiral. Okay, so they're coexisting in the same place at all times, but it's what program or algorithm are you aligning with? Are you consciously aligning your algorithm of your breaths to the crystal spiral ratio, or it's going to be random, and that by default is being pulling in phi spirals and finite spirals, which is, why we're finite. Physical, physical, you know what I'm saying? That's where that comes from. The physical body is a finite body. Not meant to be, that's just the way things are, and it just is what it is. You don't have to blame nobody. But you can do something about it though. Crystallize. That's all you gotta do.
Someone's saying, can you talk about the infinite 8?
Infinite 8. So
you've frozen.
Great cliffhanger.
Did he fall off?
I think so.
Like that is like two circles overlapping. It's like a biveca. Okay, eternal life is defined by the triveca. Well, actually, that's a torn. That's just I don't want to get into that now. But so move to the top. 3 spheres: the Manu, Ire, Mene, the light, sound.
Did you cut out from the very beginning of when you went and then it just froze? So I would start from there.
Right. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good.
Okay, so the infinite 8, the infinity symbol represents biveca, which is duality. The triveca, you know, the light, sound, one, or the void, sound, and light. That's the triveca, the eternal living light. Okay, it's 3 spheres. But to me, the infinity loop is almost like the Ouroboros, like the snake eating its tail. I feel like all you have to do is make a triple spiral. You know what I'm saying? Which is actually the Yan Yun flows, which they teach in Merkaba mechanics. So it's like boom, loop, loop, loop. So it's like a 3-prong spiral. So it's the same thing as the infinity loop, but it has that third, which gives it that. Or you can make it in a 4. I'm always about taking it to the next level. I don't care what they say is this is good for me or this, that. No, we're here to rewrite all the laws and reintroduce ancient but futuristic ideas and way things are. You know what I'm saying? Because everything they teach us is inverted. Everything, literally, from the time we grow up to all the science, the history, especially the math, like all that's literally inverted. So yeah, does that suffice your question about the infinity loop?
Yeah, that was actually from.
What do you mean? What do you mean by everything we learn is inverted?
It's backwards.
So think of it like a pentagram, right? If you got a pentagram, the smaller pentagram inside of it is going to be reversed. So there's an outer and an inner. So the phi comes from the pentagram. The 5 elements, the 5 platonic solids, everything's in 5. The 5 is the limit. So the fact that it's working on the phi, if you're trying to get the inside, it's going to be inverted. If you're trying to get the outside knowledge, it's still not going to be 360. You know what I'm saying? And it can't fractalize. So when they tell us about evolution in the Big Bang, tell us we come from monkeys, or the math, they literally teach inverse mathematics. Like it's reverse mathematics. And I can show you where that explains. I have some screenshots. The science, all reverse. The history is, how do I say it? It's an outward going energy. You're putting all your energy outside into these false things that aren't true, and that's pulling your energy outward. That's a reverse current. So instead of internalizing, learning about yourself, the true nature, the true reality, you know what I'm saying, the universe, that's the true flow of how things are supposed to go. But they want us looking at celebrities, at politicians, at sports, at everything else outside. So it where attention goes, energy flows. And if your attention's going out, then the energy's going out. That's what I mean by reversed.
Brilliant. Thank you.
That was such a perfect example. Thank you. I want to know what it feels like. How does it feel like to activate your Merkaba? What does that feel like for you when you activate?
So I've only done it once, and I was on mushrooms, and I felt like I'm humble. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do any. I've always been really, really, really cautious. I don't want to act. Actually, Keylontic is what saved my life, because I was about to do Drumbelow Melchizedek's Merkaba activation, which is the 34/21, 7 in, 7 out breaths, 18 in 1 breath technique. But something was like keeping me from doing it. And I was like, man, I'm gonna just do it, bro. I was living in my tent. I don't have nothing to lose. Like, bro, I'm gonna just do it. So I just set up the ceremony one day and was gonna do it. But for some reason, I got on my phone, and a dude on Instagram shared me a file literally explaining the deception behind the Metatronic geometry in the Flower of Life. I mean, of course, they hit it with the, oh, this is evil and all that, but it explained the Merkaba mechanics, and that 34/21 Fibonacci ratio spiral set actually phase locks your Merkaba, because it creates a same spin spiral set, which is you got Merkabas within Merkabas, because the spheres within spheres, cathara grids within cathara grids. Okay, one implies the other. And you spiral the top and bottom both the same direction, and then spiral another set of cones outside of that in the opposite direction. So it creates like this artificial circulation. Okay. But the Christic mechanics is the top is spinning one way, the bottom is spinning the other way at a 33 1/3 electrical, 11 2/3 magnetic. And this is that counter rotating, eternal replenishing Merkaba. So I was given this section first, and it saved me from doing that damn Merkaba activation, which I was really, really glad I didn't do. You know what I'm saying? So that is also why it was important to me. So the mushrooms, and it kept me from activating that Merkaba. So what it felt like for me when I did activate it is, so when you're breathing right, you feel like an electrical charge build up in your stomach. It's like almost like pure ecstasy. And then you feel it in your hands. And usually my hands start cramping up. They'll fold up like that. My thumbs be sticking out. And I found out this is called tetany, and it's from alkalosis. And alkalosis is when you raise the pH of your blood above 7.35 and make it more alkaline. So when you breathe, everybody's trying to raise the pH of their body with food and water, but that goes through the digestive system. You don't change your blood with food and water. The only way to change the pH of your blood is through the breath. And that's just making your blood oxygen levels higher. Okay. So once you get it to 100% oxygen or 99%, like I felt like I had like a rod. You ever had like a gyroscope or a spinning disc or a grinder, and you try to like turn that spinning, whatever it is, it's kind of hard because of the torque. You know, that's how gyroscopes work. There's a plane spinning there, and then there's a second force 90 degrees to that. And when you move that, it's crazy. Gyroscopes are amazing. So like I said, my AC, with each breath on the exhale, it would actually get louder and it would start spinning faster. And then I would breathe out, it would calm down and go down. And so I got up from my thing, and I was like wobbly. I couldn't like move because I could feel the rotation, and I could almost hear it like a whining, like a woo. And so I was like, had to walk like really slow. And then I went and sat back down, and I didn't want to move again because my energy fields was circulating so much, it like made me want to sit straight. And if I tilted or something, like I would naturally be pulled like back to the center. But I had my eyes open and everything. I didn't like put my Merkaba into a certain chakra and blast off into that dimension. I just activated my Merkaba in like the physical. So yeah, that's what it was like for me. It was a wonderful experience. Yeah. And the mushrooms was great too.
No, I loved hearing that, because I've always had this preconception that or misconception that activating your Merkaba, you travel outside of your body and you can go to other places. I mean,
that's the trick.
Yeah, I know you can. I was just wondering, because I know that you said that you had activated it, so I was wondering if that's the kind of thing that you experienced.
Well, the thing about it is with the drum below Melchizedek Merkaba activation, so what you do is you breathe in and out, 7 seconds in, 7 seconds out, and you move your fingertips on each breath. Okay. And then so you build a sphere of energy in your third chakra right here, and you build it and you circulate that energy there. And then at the 15th breath or something, you actually pull that energy sphere, which is where your identity, your ego is located in your solar plexus. Okay. So you take your identity from your solar plexus and you put it in your heart chakra. So really you're just activating your Merkaba in the fourth dimension, which is actually very, very dangerous, which I do not recommend at all. Unless you just want to. I can't tell nobody what to do, but that's actually a trick that they do to harness people's energy. So you think about like a out of shape person that don't do nothing, sits around, watch TV all day. No problem with that, but their frequency is low. Do you think the elite or whatever beings that are harvesting the energy, do they get a lot of, you think they want to harvest somebody that's lazy like that? Or would they like to harvest somebody who has all their energy fields wide open, Merkaba activated, all that chakras wide open? That's what they want. Because then that gives them more energy to feed off of if you're at a higher frequency, if you didn't shield. So yeah.
That makes so much sense. Does anyone have any other questions for Britt?
Yes, please ask.
Yeah, please come off mute because I'm just taking up space here.
So one person, again, yes, I hold crystal spiral breathwork classes, which it's like it's much more than just breathwork. I go over all the mechanics, give you a good understanding of the holographic nature of the cathara grid. I go into the cathara points, the scalar shields, the Huba bodies, the full chakras, and then I go into the frequency, my heart shield first, and then I do the breathwork afterwards to anchor all that. So yeah, that's what I do.
Where can we find it?
Message me. I haven't set up, I have pre-recorded courses. So if anybody doesn't have 3.5 hours of their time to dedicate to learning this live, I have pre-recorded courses, but I also just go week by week. Just let me know when you would want to take the class and I'll work around you, because that's the way I manifest it. It's like a week by week basis, and I just attract the people I need that week and they get it, and then they go on. But at any point in time, you can message me. So if you do the class live, I'll send you the recording, send you the presentation, and a couple files, which I feel are the foundation to learn if you want to have a good, solid understanding of what it's all about. So that's what I offer. So you just message me if you want to take it. The classes is $90 for 180 minutes to 3.5 hours. And if that's too much, I always do payments. If money's not a big thing in your life, I do trades, crystals, orgone, other services. Like, it's not really about the money, man. If I was doing it for the money, I'd be rich by now, but I still pay my bills week by week, just like everybody else does. Because people exploit this knowledge. They take it and print the Voyager's book and sell it for $499 on Amazon, or they offer DNA activation classes, but without giving credit to Keylontics, and offer it as $3,000. You know what I'm saying? I'm just trying to pay my bills and then able to give everybody easy access to this knowledge, and then offer my unique insight that can help them connect the dots and get to the next level, which is I'm just helping you expedite the time. Because you can take 6 months from now and then get to the same level of awareness I'm at, which I'm not beyond anybody. Or I could help you out and then help you figure out all the other shit, like the drama, the cosmic history, the split, so you can move past that much more quicker than I did, and you can expedite your own spiritual journey quick, because it doesn't have to be a slow process. It doesn't have to be a long, drawn out, meditate for 15 years and don't know shit. It could be an overnight, a monthly, a yearly leap, a quantum leap journey, because time is not static, it's dynamic. Okay, so when you lower your frequency, time becomes quicker. When you raise your frequency, time slows down. Because think about it. And I'm very grateful for everybody that's here. So think of it like frames per second. If you're viewing a movie at 60 frames per second, right? And then you have another movie that's playing 300 frames per second. The movie with the 300 frames per second, it has a lot more information going on in the same second. So if you was to take that second and zoom it out, it would be longer. It would take longer to go from one end to the other, because it's more frames. So when you raise your frequency, time slows down, which is why whenever we trip shrooms, time don't seem to exist, because you raised your frequency so high that the time dilated. But then whenever you're busy doing something, blah, 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 lost in the drama, it seems to go by like that, because your frequency is so low, okay? So speed time down, because crystals are frozen time. It's not frozen in the sense that it's not going nowhere. It's frozen that it's done raised its frequency so high that everything seemed to stop, and you experience eternity and perfect harmony and structure. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that freeze yourself. I'm just saying that you determine how quick things need to get done based off your frequency. If you want things to get done fast, just raise your frequency.
I love that. Thank you. Hilondra, I know that you want to ask a question, or you want to...
Yes, go ahead.
No, in fact, I wanted to share something. Since you were talking about the Merkaba, and you seem to have a bit of understanding more than I do, I wanted to show you a theory of a Merkaba activation I have done some time ago.
Okay.
And maybe analyze it and tell me how wrong or how right it is.
Wait, before we go, there's no wrong or right. It's either further or closer. That's all it is.
Yeah. Anyways, give me a second.
I just had to put that out there because I don't like to polarize nothing, because polarization creates fragmentation that creates separation, and that's not integration. So no good in either.
Yeah, I'm still struggling with the polarization thing.
Me too. Yeah, I just like to check myself. Yeah, so go ahead.
Just look at it and try to understand it.
Let me see. I can't. Oh, okay, there we go. So let me pull you up. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4. Ending is the diagonal. 2, 3, 7. What's the number sequence? Was that chosen for a reason? I mean, obviously for a reason.
Yes, it is chosen for a reason.
It's corresponding to the chakra points, I believe. 1 being root, 7 being top.
So you're combining the 6 to the 5, the 2 to the 3, the diagonal to the 1, and the bottom diagonal to the 7, and linking them at the 4, right?
At the heart, yeah.
At the heart.
If you want, I don't know if my video will work because I have an explanation I made at the time. But
go ahead. I want to hear it. The theory behind this is start by meditating and feeling every major energy center in your body. Join the energy of the second with the energy of the third, connected with the seventh, and bring hell to heaven. Join the energy of the sixth with the energy of the fifth, connected with the first, bring heaven to hell. And then connect heaven and hell and make one realm. Now, if you want to talk about unifying the polarities, that's how you do it. Love that.
Now, this is a theory about inner Merkaba activation. So,
think about it, bro. Anything you come up with your mind is possible. Nothing is impossible. So if you come up with that, you got that download, and you have the theory, the mechanics, the drawings, the logic behind it, totally possible. You got it for a reason. So the problem with people is everything's fragmented and separated. So what we have to do is unify the polarities so they can access the neutral state, so that they can't be reversed, and then pull in that Mahart, like, because our chakras are, most of them are on bipolarity reversals. There's a positive and negative, and they put these positive and negatives at certain ratios that keep the current going out instead of ever turning in on itself and pulling the energy in.
But the polarities are just one thing.
Yeah, most definitely.
In the end, they are just one thing. So if you understand the thing, you can be wherever you want in the polarity.
100%. You will be able to be in the position to actually make a choice instead of the choice being chose for you.
Exactly.
100%. 100%. I'm glad you shared that with me. Actually, if you could send that to me, I would greatly appreciate that.
No problem at all.
100%. Yeah, anything, any inspiration that any of y'all get, like random downloads or thoughts, that's all for a reason. It's called downloads for a reason, because we're a computer. Our brains are a resonator, a tuner, and depending upon which algorithm you're breathing at is dependent upon what wavelength your brain's at, depending upon what frequency you're resonating at and pulling it into your fields. That's all it is. So meditation is pointless without breath work. Living life is pointless without breath work, because if you're not breathing for you, then who is breathing for you? The program, the autopilot, the Agent Smith, the shadow, all them other things. That is what's in the driver's seat. If you want to hop in the driver's seat and whip that Camaro around town, you got to breathe consciously. So you don't have to sit down and do heavy breathing. You just simply have to be conscious of every single breath with the goal. If you don't sit down for 30 minutes, just be aware of your breath the whole day. You may forget 1,000 times in 5 minutes. Just return to the breath. Because then if you're constantly aware of the in and out, then bro, man, I will tell you, parallel paradigm shifts with just doing that the whole day, for real. Maybe that's when I start tripping, literally.
For some people, that there may be a better way, which is practicing silence. Silence implies stillness.
100%.
Sometimes
100%.
just practicing the silence and trying to silence the mind while you do your normal day activities is a way to practice stillness of the mind. And that's
the easiest way to still the mind? Listen to the breath. Because if you listen to the breath, you're in the now moment. It anchors your consciousness to the ever inflowing and the ever outflowing. If you just, keep your mouth closed and just shallow breathing, then you're never going to quiet the mind, because you're never lowering your wavelength. In order to quiet the mind, you have to lower the wavelength or raise the wavelength. You have the higher data or gamma, and then you have the delta. So both wavelengths have their own purpose, but all you have to do is just simply listen to the breath. Just hear it go in, hear it go out. And then eventually just hearing that breath has a psychological impact that is fail-proof. It's a fail-proof method that'll always still the mind, put you in a place of power, put your brain waves at a certain state, put a line to the parasympathetic nervous system. That's the only thing. Nobody has to be perfect and meditate for 6 hours a day, or, everybody's got busy lives. But if you're taking a crap or driving or gardening, just focus on the breath. Just be conscious of what algorithm you're choosing to breathe at all times. You're going to forget a million times, but just remember, because when you remember to breathe, you remember to love, you remember to live.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, thank you. Can I talk to you about mirrors for a second?
What's up?
Can I talk to you about mirrors?
Oh, 100%.
So some people use mirrors as a tool. Are they dangerous to use?
The only thing, so a mirror is just a reflector. So it's taking the energy and it's reflecting it back to you at 180 degrees. So I feel like the only thing that could be dangerous is if you have like two mirrors to each other and then you're trying to work with that, because then it like puts it back and forth. I don't really understand the energy dynamics of that. But yeah, they're just portals. Like literally, you can take like 8 mirrors and put them around you, and then look at each mirror, and each of those mirrors would represent a different part, an aspect of you in a different reality. And then you can like program different realities that you would want with those mirrors. But I'm not too knowledgeable on it. I love mirrors, because mirrors is very, very important, because you need to be able to look at yourself in the eye and tell yourself all the things you need to say in your face. And that's how you go to the man. You know what I'm saying? That's how you do a lot of your work, is in the mirror. So self-help or self-work, shadow work, mirror to me is the best.
Perfect. Thank you. Someone here is asking, could you explain about how siphoning happens?
Yeah. So there's a game that's set up. There's an energy game, whatever, the law. Okay. What all these esoteric people talk about the law. Well, there's the way energy works. Okay. So there's this victim-victimizer polarization law or drama or game that is being played into our reality. So how this works is there's certain type of programs that run different archetypes or different polarizations, like the good guy and the bad guy, the bully who befriends the kid who can't take up for himself but takes advantage of him, or the narcissist and the cold heart, or the mother and the wounded child. There's different dramas or programs. There's like 16 or 18 of them. And every day in our life, we either have the choice to blame something for what we experience or feel, or to take responsibility for it. And when you blame somebody, anything, the sun, the president, the moon, the grass, the kitty cat, your wife, your mom, whoever, it doesn't matter. Your energy by law goes to that object. So when you blame Biden for the vaccinations, or you blame China for all that, then your energy is literally feeding them. It's metaphysical. So all your power, how that works is, oh, you did that to me. You made me do this. Well, so I have the power to control how you feel. I got the power. So if you blame me, then I got the power. But if you don't blame me, I ain't got no power. Okay, that's how it works on all levels, on all scales, etheric and physical. So the goal is to take full responsibility for everything. Everything. Somebody punches you in the face, well, you allowed them to punch you in the face. Okay, that's how it works. You still got your power. So how I learn to take back my power, I don't blame the moon, I don't blame the sun, I don't blame the president, I don't blame the elite, I don't blame the crystal Fibonacci spiral. I mean, things is what it is, but at the end of the day, I choose what happens to me. I choose what I feel. I choose what I want to experience. And that way, nobody can trepidate onto your energy. Okay. So the energy is either going out or it's coming in or it's doing both at a certain ratio. Okay. So I would like to keep all the energy in and not waste it on any energy vampires, which people, you know, energy vampires, they'll come up and start fucking with you, talking shit to you, get you in your feelings, get you all mad. You want to fight them? Well, guess what? They're just like laughing. The beings that are influencing them feed off of our emotional energies like a drug, as a self-sustaining drug and a getting high drug. Like, they love that shit. They love to piss us off, to make us mad, to make us cry, all that stuff, so they can feed off of that. And so it's just like that. Are you going to take full responsibility for everything? Or are you going to give the power something outside of yourself that has the ability to affect you, which inertly controls you? So, I mean, we're all in this polarization game as a daily reminder of how things work, and a constant, well, dang, I can't blame them. And then if you just move into full responsibility mode, I mean, you may slip up and make an excuse for something, but if you take responsibility for your emotions, for your actions, and what's happened to you, you null and void all energy contracts, and then people can't use you no more. Them beings can't fuck with you no more. And then if you got the shielding on top of that with the confidence, they really can't mess with you. Really, they really can't. But yeah, loosh. Loosh is the energetic term. Loosh. Just like going out of your body. The energy's flowing out of your body, not accreting and building inside of your vessel. You know what I'm saying? So that's how they do that.
Love that. Thank you. Did anyone else have any more questions? Are you all right for time, Britt? I mean, we won't take.
Oh, I'm here for the people, not for me. I'm on y'all's time.
You can come off mute if you have any more questions.
Yep. So if you have any questions, if y'all want to message me on Instagram, please do. My inbox is always open. I'm not going to charge you to put you in a group chat or nothing like that. Like, my job is here to take something complex, obscure, mysterious, and ground it into a format that can be understood by a 6-year-old. Okay, a kid can walk up to a pyramid and understand, you know, the basic simples of it, which it should be simple. Okay, because the causations of things is simple, but the effects is very complicated. What's up?
So try. Hey, Britt.
Yes, ma'am.
I didn't realize I was on off mute, but I was going to ask, with all these technologies, if someone does feel like they're getting like their energy harvested by Loosh, what can they do with these technologies to help protect them from any energy vampires or unwanted energies in their field?
The mind technologies or the physical technologies?
Just all of it. Like, what do you suggest to help someone, you know, like simply to protect their energy?
I went over the heart shield. So activating that pillar of light is the best way to protect your field. Or I've recently learned that just imagining a pyramid around you, you know what I'm saying? Like a pyramid, a structure around you creates like a deflection field. Okay, so by breathing the frequency, being confident, and not giving no power to that being to even allow them to affect you. Okay, and if they are like, you can't do nothing, can't bother me. You know, you have to be confident, and that in itself is powerful. With the shielding, keep your algorithms proper by keeping your breathing right, because if you get lost in the chaotic breathing, the shallow breathing, then you're more susceptible to anxiety attacks or panic attacks or getting depressed, or, you know, not that those things are bad. We're meant to experience all ranges of emotions, but what would you like to choose experience? Would you like to choose constant DMT primordial bliss and consciousness expansion? I mean, there's a time and place for everything, but I would like to majorly choose peace and happiness. And I can do that by controlling the algorithm, by controlling what I'm allowing into my fields, by controlling what I'm consenting to happen to me or not. So yeah, there's plenty of ways. And the crystals, the pyramids, the tensor rings, all these are just amplification tools of things that you can already do on your own. That's all they are. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes, the sons. The sons, I forgot to mention that, it was regarding the sound. So about sound and light. The sound is actually what activates the deepest part of your templates, which brings up that foundational awareness is the sound. So when you work with these tones and these sounds, that's what activates the light. You know what I'm saying? Which then, boom, expands the consciousness. But you use sound first to return to the center to get it, and then use the light technologies, the electrical technologies to further expand. But it's a constant in and out. So it's not like you work with only one or only the other. You unify everything. That's why I combine the tensor ring with the crystals, with the pyramids, with the cathara. I'm trying to combine it all, because why not? Like, why are they all separate? That's just like fragmentations. Everything should be unified, just like homie was doing with the chakras, combining the polarities, unifying it. The not one, not black, not white, not positive, not negative, but positive and negative unified into the one, right? That's all it's about. I don't demonize geometry. I don't, play this victimizer drama. We are the reason why everything is. You know what I'm saying? We all co-created this together. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't the case, then we wouldn't be that. We would be experiencing our own utopia. But we're here to learn a lesson, to grow, to heal. And that's it. Simple as that. In my humble opinion. Maybe not everybody agrees with that, but it's okay. It's the beautiful thing of life.
That really resonates. Britt, thank you so much for your time. I am so grateful for your wisdom, your knowledge, and for coming on and sharing everything with us.
I'm thankful to be here and truly honored, honestly.
Thank you. I'm going to share your page around to everyone that would like it, and they can follow and they can contact you directly. For everyone else, thank you for being here as well, and we'll see you on the next Thriving Thursday workshop. Britt, thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you all for taking your valuable, wonderful time and giving me your undivided attention and asking questions and getting involved, because it is a lot. It does seem complicated, but it isn't something that has to stay complicated or obscure. It's something that you can unfold, understand, apply, integrate, and live and embody this level of reality. You know what I'm saying? This structure, the cathara grid, So I thank you all for allowing me the space and the time to pass along the flame. So seems like I got a lot out of that, and I appreciate that.
Have a beautiful day, everyone, or evening.
Yes, ma'am.
Have a beautiful day.
Thank you, Ascending Tribe. You're awesome.
Thank you so much for having me. Y'all have a beautiful, wonderful, high frequency, high oscillating